here for you.
You know there's peace inside, but still you're searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through.
Well, the Spirit waits with open arms. God's calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in.
Come on in, come on in. You'll find a place of rest in the arms of Spirit. We've waited so long for your homecoming day.
God knows the peace you need and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and to wipe the tears away.
Well, the door's unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been,
come on in.
come on in.
There is room enough in this home of love for someone just like you. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been, welcome home. Come on, welcome in. Welcome home. Come on, welcome in. You are loved.
Come home,
You
come
belong
on,
here.
welcome
You are loved.
in.
Come on in. Aloha.
Aloha.
I want to take this moment to thank you for being here with us at Unity Church of Hawaii on this Aloha Sunday. And I also would like to recognize and thank and give our love to our beloved Alethea Train.
You belong here.
No matter where you've been, you're always welcome. So please stand as you are able. Let's be aloha. Aloha is a word that has so many meanings, like saying hello and goodbye. It means how are you, and I miss you so, and I hope you're feeling alright. But most of all, it's the spirit from within that makes you feel so good inside. Aloha means with all my heart, all my love to you. You gotta be aloha. Aloha brings us all together. Sing aloha when you're looking for a piece of heaven. Sing aloha, reach out and lend a helping hand. You gotta be aloha, aloha, the heartbeat of this land. You gotta be aloha. Aloha brings us all together. Sing aloha when you're looking for a piece of heaven. Sing aloha, reach out and lend a helping hand. You gotta be aloha, aloha, the heartbeat of this land. Oh,
the heartbeat of this land. Yes, indeed. Good and glorious morning, friends. And welcome. Welcome to Unity Church of Hawaii. We're centered in God. Yes, that's it. Centered in God. We elevate global consciousness through the realization of oneness. I am so delighted to be here with each and every one of you this a little bit chilly, but absolutely gorgeous Aloha Sunday. Unity is a spiritual, educational, and healing movement. Yes, healing movement, friends, where we welcome all people on all spiritual paths. We absolutely celebrate this thing that we call diversity. And so we're so glad that each and every one of you has said yes this day. And our co-founders, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, they said yes. And one of the ways they said yes was by recognizing the truth of who they were. And by recognizing the truth of who they were, they recognized the truth of who we were. And one of the ways they did this was through the teachings of what we call statements of truth. And these are powerful statements. Today's, in this language, we call them positive affirmations. An affirmation claiming the great I am of who I am. And so, friends, this morning I was leaning into this thing that we call faith, because this is the month of faith. And the words courageous action came forward to me. And I thought to myself, yes, today I'm being called into courageous action in my life, in my community, in my world. And so I invite you today, friends, to join me as we claim the truth of who we are today. So if you will, repeat after me. Take a deep breath. I am faith. I am faith. I stand in courageous action. I stand in courageous action with love and compassion. With love and compassion. And now, friends, if you'll take your courageous selves and rise as you are able, and love on your neighbor with a little aloha. Do you need some water?
We'd like to now request that you please don't sit down, remain standing as you are able. And let's decide on love being our decision.
It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. Decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else
And thank you. And, testing. 1, 2, testing. All right, there we are. And thank you for your excellent decision to be here this morning. We appreciate having all of you here. I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, Senior Minister here at Unity Church of Hawaii. And some people have been kind of cold. Lately it's gotten clear down into the 60s. And I asked my mom, well, so how cold is it there? And she said, it gets down to 17 at night. So anyway, welcome to this nice, cool Hawaii morning. And if this is your first time here or first time since I've been the senior minister, we want to bring you a gift of a kukui nutley and also a packet of information about the church. And in that packet is a free breakfast pass, which I believe there's free breakfast today for Aloha Sunday, so you can bring it back next week or whenever you return to use that breakfast pass then. So, if this is your first time here or first time since I became the senior minister, I'd invite you if you would stand so that we can bring you these gifts. Thank you for being with us. Anybody? All right, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We want to give you a blessing. I got to meet Guy and Nicole and up front. Awesome. Thank you for being here. All right. Let's give a blessing. All right. So repeat after me. We bless you.
We bless you.
We recognize who you really are.
We recognize who you really are.
You are the love and light of God.
You are the love and light of God.
Here on this planet.
Here on this planet.
To do amazing things.
To do amazing things.
And we are here to support you, to love you, and to celebrate you. Welcome to Unity. Let's give them some love. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We also have a wonderful group of people who watch us all over the world, countries all over the world that watch us on our YouTube channel or our website, on Alelo television, or listen to us on K-Sun Radio in Wichita, Kansas. Let's give a shout out back here to all of our wonderful love streamers. We're so glad that you have joined us today. Thank you for being with us. And we know that wherever you are, God is. All of God is fully and completely present. So we hold you and embrace you in the love of being one ohana. We are one family. Let's give them some love. Thank you for joining us. Assisting us on the platform today is the effervescent, effulgent Cindy Hensley, religious science practitioner. And then we have the meditative, the deep,
Delightful.
the soon someday to be Reverend Brian Toucheron, licensed Unity teacher candidate. And he will... I get caught up in all these words. And he will bring us the Daily Word, and you can get your copy of the Daily Word down here in Connection Central on your way to breakfast. So, Cindy, what's the news?
Reverend Tim, let me tell you, there is a lot of news today, and it's all good news, but the good news always starts with us. So give yourselves a hand, because the good news is you're here. Right on. And the next good news is, as Reverend Tim was stating, it is Aloha Sunday. And today's Aloha breakfast is sponsored by the beloved Bob Schornsteimer. And Bob is dedicating this Aloha breakfast to his beautiful mom, Ruth Isaac. And Ruth passed away and moved on and graduated Earth School 3 years ago now. She was 96 and a half years old, and she absolutely loved Unity Church. And so we recognize her eternal light today. We give mahalo to Bob. And don't forget, you're wondering to yourself, well, Aloha breakfast, I wonder what could be served on the menu today. Well, let me just tell you, down in the Courtyard Cafe, today's breakfast menu is a lovely and wonderful casserole, a little breakfast casserole. There's a vegan option available. And for all of those that have a sweet tooth, a little bit of strawberry cake. Like, who doesn't want strawberry cake, right? So make your way to Connection Central for Aloha breakfast, free for everybody today. However, Because you're going down for breakfast, I'd like you to take an opportunity to stop at Connection Central. And today you can pick up your donations, your, I'm going to get it right here, right there, your donation reports at Connection Central. So if you don't pick those up today, then they'll be mailed out to you, no problem. And also, while you're down there at Connection Central, because there's a lot going on today, please check the membership list. It's available for you to view. For those of us who are members, please check the list to make sure your name is correctly spelled as it is on your ID. All right? So please avail yourself to that. Also, at this moment, things are happening. There's lots going on here today. And we have 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 openings on the Board of Trustees. So if you are feeling called to be a candidate for the Board of Trustees, there are a few things that you need to be able to do so, and one of them is just to be able to have a membership here for 1 year. And if this is yours to do and you're leaning in and you're taking that courageous action, then please see Reverend Tim or Thomas Gallagher. Raise your hand afterwards today if you are feeling called to put your name in the pot to be on the Board of Trustees. All right? Woohoo! That could be happening for you. All right. Now, also, if you're like, what's going on? It feels like it's an election. Well, it is. There's an election coming up. And we need ballot counters. So if you're available to be a ballot counter, no experience necessary. You just need to be a member. And you're like, yeah, I want to count some ballots. See me right here, Cindy, after service today. And we can hook you up with your name and see if that can be an opportunity for you. And taking a deep breath. And last but not least, today, right here in the sanctuary, 1 o'clock. We have our town hall meeting. This is an opportunity for each one of us to share and to be a part of, to find out what's been going on here at Unity Church of Hawaii, to step into whatever is yours to do. And if today it is yours to do to stand up and pick up the mic with some courageous action, with some compassion in your heart, to share what's on your heart, then this is the meeting for you. So please join us. It will also be live streamed for those of you watching out there. Please join us today here, 1 o'clock. And now, I'd invite you all to take a breath and know that we are the face of God.
We are one. We are one. I am you, you are me. We are one. And in this unity, we will live in harmony, and peace will come. 'Cause we are one.
Thank you. And let's hold our church and our town hall meeting and our board and all of our leadership, all of our volunteers in prayer. And that town hall meeting is a time where you can ask questions of the board. And also, I will be gone next Sunday, but I'll be back. My last 2 official Sundays here will be February 10th and February 17th. So please keep us in prayer as we hold you all in our hearts, and we'll be keeping you in prayer. And I just know that Spirit is doing a mighty work here, doing amazing things here. I know that. I know that by faith. Faith is the power of this month. And so let us take a deep breath. And if you wish, relax your gaze or close your eyes. And right where we sit, the presence of God is. The presence of peace. The presence of faith. The presence of courageous action. The presence of compassion, of understanding. All that the Christ is present. And in this presence, we lift up this church. We lift up this community, its leaders, its board, all that are involved here. The staff, our school. Knowing all is in divine harmony and unity. knowing all unfolds in perfect and divine order. And we hold all of our love streamers in our hearts, all of their needs, their concerns, wherever they are, knowing God is. And so in the quiet of our hearts, let us lift up the needs of our heart as we are in this presence of Spirit. Spirit, we leave all in your hands, knowing that this service and all that happens today is anointed and blessed by you. We come from a place of love. We open our hearts. This is our prayer. This is our prayer. And we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. This be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. So we'll be safe.
The daily words for today is seize the moment. And the affirmation for today is I embrace the possibilities for good in this moment. Let's state this affirmation of truth together. I embrace the possibilities for good in this moment. In her book, Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady shares this affirmation. I am a manifestation of God. In every moment, divine life, love, wisdom, power flow into and through me. Her words inspire me to begin thinking of problems as possibilities. I ask myself, what good thing is ready to happen in my life right now? I recognize my divine nature, and my perspective transforms. I find meaning in every situation, every moment. The statement, wherever I am, God is, becomes a vibrant reality. Unlimited divine life, love, wisdom, and power are mine to use, not only as I move through major life events, but also in the ordinary moments of everyday life. God's life, love, wisdom, and power express in my decisions and in my actions. And from John chapter 3, verse 18, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action. Now, as we settle into this ever-present moment, you may close your eyes or dim your gaze and allow this divine essence of the truth of God to shine forth in, through, and as you, realizing that in this moment, we can allow the presence of God to seize, step forward, and to act within our very presence, within our consciousness, within our very being. We can let go and let God, and as we let God go, acting, living, expressing through us and as us. We know the truth of God is here, ever present, within our mind, our beings, and within all of our situations. We know this truth will set us free. We rest in the truth of this knowing now. This truth now opens up our hearts, our minds, our beings into this ever-present glorious kingdom that is God. We now once again know with conviction, with consistency and persistency what is ours to do. We listen to the still small voice that is within us always. And we step forward and do that which is ours in divine action to do. We know that we are living in and as this divine presence. We unwrap the gift of this presence. We shine forth the blessing. And we realize in this moment that all is perfect, whole, and complete. Thank you and love you.
Beloved one who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our errors as we forgive each other, and so forgive ourselves. And leave us not in times of trial, but deliver us from fear. For thine
tribe and tongue. Let every soul in song rejoice to see the kingdom come. Let every hope and every dream be born in us again. Let all the world sing with one voice. Let the people say amen. 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 Amen.
All right. Thank you, Zamar, and it's so good to have Alethea with us. And yeah, good to see Alethea. I don't know if any of you remember ages and ages and ages ago a radio show. I mean, do any of you remember radio shows? Yes. Some of you do? And there was this amazing radio show. And I would hear replays of it years and years later, okay? But I would be enthralled with this radio show. And there would be this dramatic voice that would say, "Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows." And so today we're going to look at the shadow and shadow work. I am firmly convinced that we are all called to do some shadow work. I believe that this spiritual community is being called to do shadow work. I believe that our country is being called to do some shadow work. I believe that we as individuals are being called to do some shadow work. Now, let's talk a little bit about the shadow. And let me first explain why I'm talking about this. What I've noticed, and I am immersed in lots of different spiritual traditions. And what I find is that no matter how wonderful and how rich and how liberating that spiritual tradition is, if people are not doing their shadow work, it interferes with their spiritual growth. It interferes with their spiritual unfoldment, because their shadow, if unexplored, if not brought to awareness, if not brought to the light, can affect and hold us back, can be an obstacle in our spiritual journey. That's why I think it's important to talk about the shadow. So many spiritual communities try to do a bypass around the shadow. And in Unity, and I have a good friend, Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. Many of you know of him. He wrote Heart-Centered Metaphysics, Power Up, the book about 12 powers, other books, and a great teacher in the Unity movement. Paul and I were talking one day, and he had this very interesting theory. And here's the theory, and I just want us to chew on it. Just sit with it. He said that there is so much emphasis in Unity of affirming and knowing the light and affirming light, that what it does is it increases our shadow. Now, it's true, and Cindy Hensley told me this week, that you cannot see your shadow unless there's light. If you are in the dark, you cannot see your shadow. Now the shadow, let me explain what it is. The shadow, and this comes from Carl Jung, who was a student and colleague of Sigmund Freud. And Carl Jung believed that there are all these things that we have repressed in ourselves that we're unaware of that nevertheless create behaviors that come out. For example, a person may grow up seeing people that are very traumatizing, that are very mean, that are very abusive. And what that can create as a shadow are a distrust of people. There might be lots of suppressed anger. And if they're unaware and embracing and finding healthy ways to deal with that anger comes out in very destructive ways, very harmful ways. And I see it over and over in very wonderful spiritual communities where people's shadow side is coming out sideways and they're totally unaware of it. I grew up in a wonderful tradition called the Church of the Nazarene. My family is still in that tradition. I was educated in that tradition in college and in seminary, got my master's degree there. It's a wonderful tradition, and there are a number of things that, as I was growing up in that tradition, I began to see some issues. In the Church of the Nazarene, there's this doctrine of entire sanctification. And that was the subject matter of my first sermon when I was 3 years old, by the way. Yeah, it's documented. Entire sanctification is this doctrine that the Holy Spirit so cleanses us from original sin, from any kind of tendency towards sin, that after entire sanctification, it is possible to live without what the Nazarene Church would define as any sin. So, in the Church of the Nazarene, when someone would act really mean towards others, really aggressive, really angry, they would say, oh, it's righteous indignation. I wasn't angry. So as a child, what I would notice is that people developed this wonderful denial system and would project onto others their own shadow. So the issues that were unexplored and unenlightened, that they were unaware of, they would project onto others. I learned very early on in ministry that a minister or any leader can be a projection screen upon which others project their shadow side. If we are not aware of this as individuals in our spiritual journey or as a spiritual community in our country or in our world, and we see ample evidence of this everywhere we turn, we see people projecting their own shadow side onto others instead of really learning where that person is coming from and really being able to listen to them. I'm calling us to do something very difficult. I'm calling us to be in touch with our own shadow. Last night up in my office, I just sat with, okay, where is the pain coming from? What is the pain really? Instead of just focusing on others, what is it in me that is creating the pain? What is the shadow? What is it that I'm afraid to look at? If we're unwilling to do that kind of work, we have the tendency to project it onto others and to ascribe to others all kinds of interesting motives. Let me tell you a little bit about the shadow. So up here, okay, here's the persona. That's the mask that we wear. In unity, we tend to be very positive and very affirming and wonderful smiles, and we really mean it. And we begin to perfect this persona, this way that we can come forward and present ourselves to the world. But what is behind that? Okay, here's our consciousness, and here is the shadow self. Notice how big it is? Now, I'm going to share a few other things with us here. We can go to the next one. Okay, this is from Debbie Ford. And Debbie Ford has recently made her transition. Wonderful spiritual teacher, spiritual coach. And she developed shadow workers all over the world. People who were trained in organizations and congregations to work with people one-on-one and help them to work with their shadow. And she has a great movie about it. She says, when we deny ourselves a safe outlet to express our dark side, or refuse to even acknowledge its existence, it builds up and becomes a powerful force capable of destroying our life as well as the lives of those around us. Now here's the thing. I used to think of the shadow side as something negative. Again, in Unity, we talk so much about the light, we tend to think that the shadow side is bad. No. It's just whatever it is that we're unaware of. It's whatever it is that has been pushed down and is in the darkness and may cause us to live and behave in ways that are not in our best and highest interest. So next slide. Did you know that when you connect with your shadow, you can heal profound fears and traumas? When I sit with my shadow, as I did last night, it was a time of healing some of those things from my past that I sometimes carry into the present and project onto others that are in my sphere of influence. Now, you may wonder if you do this. Okay, have you ever been in a conflict and someone reminds you of somebody that used to really bother you? Have you ever been in a situation where someone reminds you of your father, your brother, your sister, your mother, and it just irritates the fire out of you? That's your shadow. You're projecting onto that person that unresolved thing with that family member. Yeah, I know this is all very psychological, but it's also very spiritual. And again, I encourage us not to try to do a spiritual bypass and try to avoid doing our own work and instead projecting our shadow onto others. So whatever it is that you're feeling, sit with it first. Know what it is. Know where it is coming from. It isn't bad, whatever it is that you are feeling. But we are not whole people unless we are able to embrace our shadow side. Okay. This is from Carl Jung. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung was convinced that what we need to do is to bring these things to light. Any of you ever watch Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? I mean, there's been various versions of that movie. There was one in 2003, I believe, and there was one from 55, and then the first one was like 1931. And really creepy movie, you know. You have this very well put together doctor, and he looks so professional, and he's held in high esteem at the hospital where he works, and people look up to him. He's this model in the community of what it means to be well educated and well groomed, to be a real gentleman. But he has this burning desire to know how the mind works, knowing that there is within each person this shadow side, this other side that is often unexplored. And so he comes up with this concoction to either drink or inject, that depending on which version of the movie you see, that suddenly this dark side, the shadow side, takes over Mr. Hyde, which I think it's on purpose that Mr. Hyde is called that, because a lot of us try to hide our shadow side. A lot of us try to keep it in the dark. No, I know all of you are impeccable housekeepers or have wonderful, impeccable housekeepers that work for you. But speaking for myself, there have been times where we have had people come over, and I'm like, where do I put this stuff? And I'm putting something under the bed, and putting something in the closet, and oh, wow, where can I hide this? I want everything to look nice and clean and inviting. I don't want people to see this stuff that's laying all around. That's what we do with our lives. We don't want people to see these dark parts of ourselves. These things that we have rejected, these things that we think are bad. And as long as we call them bad, what happens is they don't go away. They actually build up and come out in very unhealthy ways, interfering with your spiritual progress, interfering with the progress of whatever spiritual community that you're a part of, interfering with the progress of your country, interfering with the progress of our world. What I'm asking us to do is to really get in touch with that side of ourselves. This is not the most fun message I've ever given. I was thinking today, if I was coming here as a guest minister to speak, this is not the message I would give. I would give something much more upbeat, something much more animating and exciting, something where people can just go away and go, oh, I feel so much better. But I'm calling you to something deeper. I'm calling you to embrace yourself. To embrace those parts of yourself that you've cut yourself off from. Those parts of yourself that you've said don't to. So that you can learn to express those things in healthy ways and engage with other people in healthy ways instead of projecting your own darkness onto others. We're all called to do this, all of us, especially those in leadership. And it's like, I'm talking to myself here too. It's like, I need to do my shadow work. I need to look at what's going on inside. I need to see when I'm projecting onto others so that I can relate to people in a loving way. I was talking with very close spiritual associate, my guru, actually. And he was talking about how people who are in the spiritual path need to treat each other. And how big an offense it is when we hurt and insult each other. We are called to live our principles. The fifth basic unity principle is to live the principles. And it shows up in how we live in relationship. God is in relationship. God is relational. The way we relate to one another says something about our relationship in God. Strong stuff, eh? It's time for us to really do the deep work. Each one of us individually, collectively as a spiritual community, wherever you are in the world, we are called to do this in-depth work so that we can reveal the Christ as ourselves and not allow the shadow to get in the way and come out in destructive ways. It's time to do the work. And instead of saying, don't, let's do it. Let's reveal the Christ. Let's be that Christ power wherever we are. Thank you.
Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't. It isn't right, don't, it isn't nice. Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't walk on the grass, don't disturb the peace, don't skate on the ice. Well, I say do, I say walk on the grass was meant to feel, I say sail, and if you took to the windmill, if you fail, you fail. Everybody says don't, everybody says don't, everybody says don't get out of line. When they say that, then you know that's a sign. 9 times out of 10, you know you're doing just fine. Make just a ripple. Come on, be brave. This time a ripple. The next time a wave. Sometimes you have to start small, climbing the tiniest wall. Even if you have to fall, but it's better than not starting at all. Everybody says don't, everybody says wait, everybody says don't get out of line. Don't, everybody says don't, everybody says stop. Can't find City Hall, can't disturb the peace, can't laugh at the king. Well, I say try, I say laugh at the king, it'll make you cry. Make your poise, laugh at the windmill, and if you lose, you lose. Everybody says no, everybody says can't, everybody says wait around for miracles. That's the way the world should be. I believe in miracles. If you do them miracles, nothing to them. I say don't be afraid.
As we prepare our morning offering and tithe, so we take it in our hands or place it over our hearts. Repeat after me. I bless this offering.
I bless this offering
in the consciousness, of joy and abundance. I give thanks, and so it is. Amen.
Come with me to the islands. Come, my love, follow me. Under the lure of pure enchantment, love will unfold her golden mystery. All night long I will hold you till the stars slip into the sea. I'll weave a crown of rainbows in my hair. follow me. Love is waiting. Follow, follow me. I am Hawaii. I am forever. I will always be kind to you. May gentle rain wash your cares far out to sea. Come you dreamers and dream with me. I am Hawaii. I am the flowers, whispering water, enchanted hours. Come you lovers, come to forever. I am Hawaii. I bring you love. I bring you love. I'll weave a crown of rainbows in my hair. Many a moon I'll spend with thee. Love is waiting. Follow, follow me. Love is waiting. Follow, follow me. Hide, hide, follow me.
Thank you, Kathy and Nicole. And as we extend our hands to this offering, we bless this offering in the consciousness that it represents infinite substance, of which there is no lack or limitation, circulating the divine good that our lives are. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. And we have prayer chaplains on today. Thank you, prayer chaplains. And these wonderful prayer chaplains are here to know the truth with you, to hold the truth with you. You can have a 1-minute miracle. I mean, that's great stuff, yeah? So come on up and pray with these wonderful prayer chaplains, whatever needs you may have or whatever you may be thankful for. Let's all stand and join hands as we sing together our peace song in Aloha Oe.
There be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that touch.